Now today, I want to go ahead and speak about Isagi's original ego. Now we've seen Isagi's ego continue to change and adapt and develop all the way now in the NEL up to the PXG match. But the real question is his original ego even here yet? Now first we need to even look back towards what Isagi's original ego even is. Now we've had a little bit of hints and suggestions at what it is, but still I don't think there's full confirmation of exactly what his ego is. But still, we can go ahead and look and see exactly what the close meaning of his original ego will be, and if it will revert back to that, or he already has been towards that. So what we need to do first is go back to Isagi when he was a kid. Now if you know from the light novel, we know that Isagi was a genius, who was able to tell the rain from the sky, was able to have really great spatial awareness even as a child, and being able to just see things differently like a normal kid could not do. From this, he was a star in his elementary and middle school. He was able to go past 5 different people as a kid, he played football very well, and he was really an icon in his hometown. It was only up until he went to his high school, KiiNGKhyy, where he was told to forget how to be a striker and to just play for the team as all 11 players. Isagi always had a dream of becoming the best striker in the world, and playing for Japan's national team and being their ace striker. It was a dream that he always had. Now keep this in mind about Isagi's dream as we go forward in the video, because this is a very important metaphor that will go on and speak about exactly how Isagi's original ego comes about. We also know as a kid that Isagi always watched Noah Noah. He was entranced by his playstyle, and he strove to be a person like Noah Noah for so long. I had already did a video before about Isagi and why he will catch up to Noah Noah, so if you didn't check out that video, go ahead and see, because I won't be talking about that here. But basically, he strove to be like Noah Noah, and you could tell from his mannerisms and personality that he's getting closer and closer to Noah Noah. Now I want to look back to a time when Isagi had just scored his game-winning goal in the under 20 match, and he was headed back home. From this, his parents told him that he could live life as he wants, and Isagi was in his bed thinking about it, thinking about how he can live life as he wants. He even thought that perhaps that's what being an egoist means. He thinks about how BLUELOCK changed him, and that's who he is now. This is a big statement because BLUELOCK did change him. It did allow him to see past his old ways and go ahead and become a striker now, forgetting about what his high school had taught him. However though, I felt like at times that this was always what his dream was. It just got short-sighted happening in high school. But now with BLUELOCK and his under 20 goal and changing the world, he kind of figured that he can kind of do whatever he wants. If his dream is still to become the best striker in the world, he can go ahead and achieve it. And that's what ego created BLUELOCK for, to create the best striker in the world. And for people to have these egos and desires to be that great, and to be that great that they work hard and go achieve that goal. Isagi knows the excitement of victory. He knows the pleasure of scoring. He knows the happiness of changing the world with his own hands. And he wanted to do it more and more. This happens to be his desire. Now it comes down to what his originality might be. Could you say it's this? Living life on his own terms? Being happy? What exactly does that mean to Isagi? This is something that we'll also go into further on. The biggest statement point so far that we've seen from originality and egos comes during the beginning of the NEL. Ego even says that your talents and weapons may have stood out in Japan, but they will fall to the average level when compared to the world. And what you feel then and what you believe will be a test for you. If even then, you're still able to show that you have value that no one else does, the world will be waiting for you. The NEL was always supposed to be a test, proving who can have their own original ego come out to light. Who can clash with the other egos of the master strikers and bring out their fullest potential. It was a fast-paced environment that really got done so quickly, and it allowed players like Rin and Isagi to grow and elevate so much faster than they would have had they had just been in the normal BLUELOCK standard. For this, we see people like Rin's original ego coming back. Now if you haven't seen from the PXG match, we've seen a full backstory list of Rin and his childhood beliefs and what his original ego was before he decided to do all that stuff with Sae, and now from this, he's finally been able to reach his original ego and unlock the doors and keys to his potential. Now honestly, Isagi was a big part of that, being able to be a new vision for Rin, but still he was able to revert to his original ego. We also see Kaiser as well revert to his original ego, back to things from zero, back when he was just with his dad and he wanted to leave, back when he just wanted to be loved and he wanted to figure it out on his own. We now have 2 out of the top 3 strikers be able to revert back to their original ego. But yet we still haven't seen this full confirmation of Isagi's original ego. I remember sometime before the PXG match that Isagi was talking to Igaguri, and he tells him to pursue your goals to the fullest. That's the foundation of our ego, an ego that is unique only to you. Isagi says not wanting to take over your family's temple, that's one heck of an ego you got, Igaguri. Don't lose hold of it. Isagi understands that he needs to pursue his goals to the fullest, and that's the foundation of his ego as well. Now for Igaguri, it's not wanting to take over his family's temple. For Isagi though, in the beginning, it's always to been Japan's national team ace striker, and to be the best striker in the world. So everyone's goals are different. For Rin's original ego, I would say his was to always be a destroyer. was to always back things on his own way and do things how he wanted to. For Kaiser's original ego, it was to be loved. It was to always settle and be around in the world and make an impact that he could on his own way. That's why his move is called Kaiser's Impact, because he wanted his goal to impact people and for him to be loved. For Isagi, however, his original ego revolves around being the best striker in the world. We don't know exactly what his full foundation is and what his original ego fully reverts to, but I'm sure we're going to see it soon, honestly, by the end of this match. Ego even tells everyone that originality equals hunger. You weren't born with it, and it wasn't taught to you. What do you hunger for? That's what makes a person's originality. What does Isagi hunger for the most? During the NEL, it was first to defeat Rin, then it was to defeat Kaiser. Now it seems like it's to defeat Noah and become the best striker in the world and prove a theory. So what exactly is his original hunger? Ego says in order for you to win this Neo Egoist League, you had to rationally commit to a required role, follow your own ideals, and voluntarily destroy and recreate yourselves over and over again. You've been forced to ask, what do I want to be? And the world is waiting for that challenging focus of yours, the radiance of a footballer. This is the hunger that Isagi seeks out. This is what he wants to do, what he wants to achieve. Now the question is, who does he want to be? Before walking out to the PhD match, Isagi says that this is his originality, the thing that only he desires, his hunger. He had found a vision being able to figure out a way to defeat Rin, defeat Kaiser, and become the best in the world. However, that vision before the PhD match wasn't enough. As he realizes that during the match, he notices that he's no longer the talented genius like others. Instead, he's a talented learner, a complete difference of the genius. But talented learners and genius can coexist. It's no hierarchy. They're both the same and they need each other. With this being that, we now see Isagi's new self. Right now, he's willing to sell his soul to achieve victory, and he's found a new way to fight. He's now a machine who has no personal care or motives in his reach. He just wants to be a machine that carries out his will and finds a way to win and score goals. Because of this, he even was able to sell his soul and start a relationship with Kaiser, the person he hates the most. He said he'll throw away his emotions to win. This feeling of using all of his talents as tools. He wants to dive into this new version of him. Now, could this version be the original ego that he's slowly trying to come to? You know, Isagi's ego is always about puzzles. We constantly see puzzles moving around, shaping, building blocks all the time. It's always like he's finding new pieces to add. But when will he have a complete puzzle? Maybe by the end of the series? Maybe by the end of the NEL? But it's really not hard to tell. He's always been rebuilding and destroying things. So sometimes puzzles get taken off, sometimes they get destroyed, but then he always adds them back. That's what his ego is about. He said from this point on, he'll abandon his ego and become a machine to be able to win. This is the only way for him to surpass a genius. And we see the puzzles once again on his eyes, coming off again, and being rebuilt. This is always how it is with his ego. It's like puzzles that are always being mixed and matched. They're not always a complete puzzle yet. Noah even said that he might have unlocked the door to Isagi's ego. He realizes now that ego exploited their desires for new egos, and ego even tells him that he's right. I really like this graphic here showing Rin, Isagi, and Kaiser, because we see the three people who really have proved that they have world-changing originality. There's no one else currently in the NEL that have the best originality other than these three. These are the top 3 players in BLUELOCK, and it's stamped right now. However, like I said though, we've seen a backstory of Rin and his original ego, we've seen a backstory of Kaiser and his original ego, but we have not seen an original ego style backstory of Isagi fully yet. Ego also tells Isagi that he has his own path to becoming the world's best. Isagi starts to realize more and more, his playstyle has always been based on logic. Every weapon that he's always achieved, it's always been from analyzing somebody else's talent, copying it, and making his own arrangements based on predictions. He's stolen from everybody else and still barely scraped by. Because of this, he doesn't have enough originality to create something from zero. He's a genuine second-rate talented learner. This is important as it dates back all the way back to the first selection, when Ego says that you have to create something from zero to one, and Isagi really still hasn't fully been able to do that. Every single weapon that he's had so far has been from someone else. He's copied it and seen it, and he's been able to do it off of someone else's. Because of this, he doesn't have his own original move. He's never created one. Kaiser has his Kaiser Impact, Rin has his Destroyer Ego, but Isagi has nothing yet. Because of this, Isagi needs something that correlates only to him, an original style ego that only he can have, something that only he made up on his own, not from someone else. Now for this, we don't know exactly what that could be yet, but I have a few guesses in mind. You know, Isagi's really good with his eyesight, he's really good with forecasting, really good at seeing things. So I think his own originality could be based off of something that has to do with original foresight and something to do with a direct shot specifically for him. Now in that case, we still don't know fully what it could be. There's many guesses, and if you guys know anything, please let me know in the comments. Now I will say we are getting close to Isagi's original ego though. We see him getting slowly closer to zero. He's dropped everything for him, and puzzles keep falling off of his arms and his body, as you can tell in this panel here. He's slowly but surely getting closer and closer to his original ego, but he's not at zero yet, and that's the thing that resolves for him, his own originality. He had to drop everything else that he had in his life, but it's still not zero. So it means, what else has he not dropped to get back to square zero, back when he just wanted to win? You see, Isagi reverts back to when he first lost against Kira in his high school match. But honestly, he needs to go even farther back than that. He needs to go back to his childhood aspirations, back when he was a kid, back when everything was at zero. What was his true desire as a kid? Not just being the best striker in the world in high school, but something even deeper than that. He wanted to win back in high school, but he needs something back to original, like Kaiser and Rin. He needs something as a child, something that was only original to him, something that he was only desired, hunger. And that's where this originality comes from. It's like Ego said, you weren't born with it, and you weren't taught with it. So it wasn't born with him. It was something that came up during his childhood dreams. It's a hunger that originates from him only. And what will that be? And now the last theory that I have today is the white hair theory. Now, this theory came up from someone in the comments of my YouTube video, and I do apologize because I don't remember where that comment is in the video, but I do want to say I give credit to whoever said this about it, and they did bring it up, so that's where I got the idea from. But basically, the white hair theory is, if you look back in this manga panel when Isagi was a kid, you see this white hairstyle in front of his hair, and in the back is black. Now in the anime, his hair is fully black, so this is only a manga type thing. And I know he has black hair, he doesn't have white hair. But this could be a little theory here, as we see here he has this white hair during the time when he was a child and he was watching Noah Noah. Now throughout the series, all the time we see Isagi with black hair, and that's mainly when his ego has been arrived, and we see everything here. However though, if you look recently, from the time when he decided to sell his soul and merge with Kaiser, you slowly start to see his hair turn white. This can mean that his original ego has to do with something with white hair in the front. Now if you also know, Noah has white hair. Now that's his actual hair color, and Isagi, I know his hair color is black, but maybe his ego is a metaphor showcasing white hair. Now white hair in anime can sometimes often represent cold and devoid of compassion. The color can also be the color of nobility. They don't need to be soiled by physical needs or work. It can also often signify a certain mystique, or wisdom, or otherworldliness. One character who I put in mind of this is KiiNGKhyy from Hunter x Hunter. From that time forward, we start to see a lot of panels now where the author is making Isagi's hair white. Now this could just be a huge coincidence, but we start to see this white hair come out a lot more. Could be showcasing that his original ego has him have white hair. Now I do put this in another correlation in terms of KiiNGKhyy from Tokyo Ghoul, as his hair was black and it eventually turned white. Now obviously KiiNGKhyy's situation is a lot different, as his hair turned white due to being tortured and everything. But with Isagi's case, he's slowly starting to go back to original zero, and for this, his original ego could have to do with the white hair. We start to see more and more panels of Isagi and the puzzles as they create this white hair style. We had never seen this before in the earlier panels or any time in the series beforehand. Now these white hairs have been appearing all throughout the last few chapters of the PXG match. So the question is, could this white hair have to do with his original ego? Is this something that has to be within him? Does this mean that he's slowly starting to become his original self? Who is his original self anyway? Because all we know, he strove to be like Noah, but now he's regarded his feelings and everything for Noah. So his original ego has to be before he was looking at that screen and knew who Noah was. It has to be before that time in admiration. But Noah is really the reason he started to even want to become a striker in football. That's his reason for playing. So we need something even further than that. Something a lot farther. Something earlier than that. What made him become who he wants to be now? What is his original ego? Now I want to point something out in the Isagi BLUELOCK spin-off novel. If you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out, and if anyone needs any links, I'll go ahead and I'll put them in the description for you guys as well. And we see right here in chapter 2 that Isagi, when he was a kid, he was a very timid child. He was pretty scared of stuff, and he had very wide field of vision and spatial awareness and everything, so he could detect the slightest change at a level that ordinary people could not see. So basically what happened was his mom and dad decided to send him to a soccer game with them, and the venue was the Saitama Stadium. Now his parents had little interest in soccer, but since it was a home game, the place was packed with enthusiastic local fans. Contrary to his parents' expectation that he would be scared of the crowd, Isagi did not cry. As the game began, Isagi felt a throb in his chest that he never had felt before. The bright green grass and blue sky, players chasing the ball, the crowd going wild. He doesn't know the rules or anything, but he wants to be there. He wants to chase the ball too. Now this was all before the next chapter, where Isagi then finally meets Noah on TV when he was 8 years old. So at this time Isagi was around 3 to 4 years old. Now this could be something to do with his original ego. He felt a throb in his chest when seeing the wild fans going crazy and just being in the atmosphere. He told himself that he wants to play soccer too. So in this case, maybe it has something to do with during that first time that he went to that stadium. Maybe we even see a panel of that sometime in the manga, as this isn't a BLUELOCK spin-off novel. It is canon, but we still haven't seen it anywhere in the manga yet, explaining his childhood fully and his background. So this could have something to do with his original ego, and I'm excited to see where it takes him. As for Isagi, he's one of the greatest characters I've ever seen, and for this, his original ego is going to be spectacular to see. Let me know what you guys think of what Isagi's original ego is, and if it's still here yet, or if we're still waiting for it to be seen. Well, I thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back in the next one. Peace.